Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Game Week 8 deadline stream. FPL is finally back, but guess what? In 3 weeks, we've got another international break. That is it then till Christmas, so it's almost over the international break stuff until March. Let's not think about that right now. Although, to be honest, I'm quite excited to watch England again. Although I want to see Tuchel's England in March. Anyway, we won't get on to England and Tuchel and German discussion. I've not made any moves yet. Not particularly happy about Bruno Fernandes being my vice captain either, I've just noticed. Maybe I should put that on Solanke instead. I've not moved Saka out. There's not been any news about whether or not he's starting. There's been a lot of stuff about the hotel on Twitter, but I don't think anyone's officially confirmed that Saka has been seen. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what to do with him. I'm very tempted just to get Son. I'm very tempted just to roll as well. Quite happy not to go for Palmer this week, but might want him next week. All the same rubbish I've been talking about all week. Simply FPL, member for 26 months. Thank you very much. Road to top 5 million rank starts today. You'll get there, I'm sure. Mine is the road to top 2 million. Not been a great start to the season. That's fair to say. Let me just change the music a second. Palmer 16-pointer against Liverpool away. That would be pretty impressive, to be fair. If he does that, fair enough. Bang on time, let the stress begin. I've been on time for my streams all season. Wow, okay. Didn't know that. What to do with Diaz? I mean, I think he's okay to hold this week. Long term, I didn't go for him, right? So my opinion on him has not changed very much. I've been saying all season that I wouldn't go for him. Looked stupid early on. Now it doesn't look quite so stupid. I just think you're going to have this headache a lot of weeks. Well, actually, to be fair, that's not necessarily true. Because if he gets benched in the Champions League, you're going to be quite sure that he's going to play the next game. I'd be a little bit tempted to keep him this week, but then it's Arsenal away anyway, so doesn't get that much better. Pranav 25 months. 2 free transfers, Diaz to Johnson or Roll. Well, again, do you want to keep Diaz long term? Are you happy with the early subs? Are you happy with the possibility that he's going to get benched at any point? If not, I would probably make the move. Saka to Foden. I don't personally have a huge amount of interest in Foden as an option. I think the next two look great on paper. Wolves away, Southampton at home. There's probably a really good chance that he starts both of those games. It's not a guarantee, though. I said on yesterday's video, you're either someone that likes taking punts on Man City players or you're not. If you are, then I would go for him. Because if you're not going to go for him this week, when are you going to buy him? Of course, you could just buy him for Southampton at home next week. But then you've missed one good fixture against Wolves as well. Is Johnny Evans essential? I don't think so. Pinnock to get a clean sheet and Bruno to blank. Yeah, it could happen. Trent to Lewis and Rodgers to Johnson 2 free Trent. I don't think I would do that. I would just keep Trent and Rodgers. We don't know if Saka travelled or not. New haircut. I've had it a few days. I've had it since last Friday, actually. My son did it. He's doing a barber work experience. So I let him cut my hair. Well, shave what's left of it. I can get Diaz to Salah in 3 moves. At least there's no worry about Salah not starting. Might get subbed early, though. Yeah, 3 moves to do Diaz to Salah. I mean, it doesn't sound amazing to me. Maybe from game week 10 onwards. I'm just not sure I'd use 3 free transfers for a player that has got Arsenal away next week. Saka is a long-term pick. No need to panic, especially to Son, who plays far too wide this year. They have super great fixtures. The fixtures are pretty good. I don't... That he plays far too wide stuff, that comes out all the time. People have said that about Salah before, and Salah always gets returns. At the end of the day, Son's minutes are great. He's on penalties. He'll get into good positions. He's got 4 returns in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games, 2 goals, 2 assists. Son's a really good pick, and he does have better fixtures than Saka. I agree that Saka's a good long-term hold. I'm not saying he has to be sold, but I wouldn't try and play down Son too much. Like he's literally got Ipswich at home, game week 11. West Ham at home this week is a good fixture. Why am I not talking about Delap? No, not that interesting, is he? Saka and Havertz travelled. I saw. Is that confirmed? I don't know. I've not seen a clear picture of Saka. But I've got to be honest. I haven't spent a huge amount of time studying videos overnight. CHF, thank you. If Saka doesn't start, I have Winks as first sub. Yeah, I mean, Semenyo is not a great first sub. That is part of the dilemma. Not terrible, though. Especially if he wipes my Arsenal clean sheet. Watkins captain. I'm pretty sure you've got a better captain than Watkins. He's not terrible against Fulham away, but I suspect you've probably got a better player in there. Jackson to Solanke. Yes, like it. Trent to Vardio. I like it less so, to be honest with you. I think that the next couple of fixtures are definitely better for Man City. And you free up some money as well. And he should keep starting. Like, Ake's still out at the moment. He might be back soon. But it doesn't mean he necessarily comes in and takes Vardio's place anyway. I'd rather have Vardio the next few weeks, put it that way. Should I sell Watkins, Semenyo to Solanke, Bruno? See, it's got to the point now when people ask me about Bruno Fernandes questions, I'm not even sure if I'm allowed to legitimately answer the questions because I don't know if it's a troll or whatever. Like, honestly, it's at that point with Bruno. I would rather have Solanke and Bruno than Watkins and Semenyo. I think I've said this somewhere. Like, Man United's fixture run is pretty good now, but realistically, the good fixtures are this week, 11, 12, and 13. Like, West Ham away and Chelsea at home are okay. They're not amazing. Yeah, I'd rather have the latter two, but honestly, you could just keep Semenyo, especially if you can bench him and just do Watkins and Solanke. You don't have to get Bruno. I don't think I can sit here and tell people to bring Bruno in. I can't be dealing with with all the aftermath. Don't buy Bruno. He's terrible. I've got 2 free transfers, so I can do Calvert-Lewin to Delap this game week. I'm not sure why. I wouldn't do that personally, but yeah. And Diaz to Palmer and Trent to Aït-Nouri next game week. I mean, if Calvert-Lewin to Delap is to fund Diaz to Palmer, fair enough. Presumably most of the money is coming from Trent. I mean, Calvert-Lewin's literally got Ipswich and Southampton next 3. Oh, gone blurry. That's weird. Next 3 weeks. I just don't see the point in using a transfer on him unless you have to. Genuine question, Diaz to Bruno. Again, I'd rather have Bruno this week than Diaz, if I'm honest, and next week probably. He's over 8 million, though. There's a lot of players that are probably going to do better for less money. I just think people are going to bring Bruno in all of a sudden. Like, if he blanks today, it's going to frustrate you. Trust me. Trust me. But I don't think he's a terrible option. Otherwise, I wouldn't still have him. Trent, Lewis, Vardio, Rogers, start 3. I'd probably bench Lewis out of those. I think Vardio's more likely to start. Odds on Diaz starting. Again, I think he's more likely to start than not. I'd probably put it like 75-80% chance. Maybe even a little bit higher. But can never guarantee it. Isak in for Havertz. Start Saka with Rodgers first on the bench, thoughts? Or should I stick with Havertz and bank the transfer? I think Isak is better this week, but honestly, he's just back from an injury. I think Havertz is fine. I just do. What are Newcastle's fixtures after this week? They're not that great, are they? Yeah, Chelsea away, Arsenal. I would just keep Havertz, honestly. I would just bank your transfers. Watkins and Semenyo to Havertz and Johnson for a -4. Would you do it for free? I'm not sure I would do it for free. I definitely wouldn't do it for a hit, I don't think. Like, Brennan Johnson is good, right? And I'm going to contradict myself here because I know I've spoken about him a lot over the last week or so, but it feels almost like it's getting to the point where everyone feels like they have to buy him. Like, he's not that good. Like, he's a good option. And if you've got the free transfers and you've got the spare midfield slot, Brennan Johnson for 6.6 million is a decent option. But we shouldn't start talking about him like he's essential where you've got to take hits and stuff to bring him in. I mean, not many players are ever like that essential. That being said, I'm still a little bit tempted to bring him in. And then just do Fernandes to Palmer next week. I think by the end of this stream, I'm going to own Son. I'm just waiting to see if we get any more news. The thing is, even if we knew Saka was starting, I mean, Son's probably better this week anyway. Like, who's better, right? This is what's been going through my mind. Who is better, Son versus Palace away, or Saka versus Liverpool at home? I think most of us would say Son, right? Even though it's an away game, it's an easier team. I don't think going away to West Ham is super easy, but it makes me think I should just get Son this week and just be done with it. Just accept that I'm not getting Palmer till 12. Accept that I might ruin my season by keeping Fernandes for another few weeks. That's kind of what's going through my head at the moment. Just get him for. I think I know some people say the fixtures aren't that good for Spurs. I think they are pretty good. Like 3 home games next 4. Like Villa are obviously a top team. Qualified for Champions League last year. They'll probably get close-ish again this year. But the defence isn't like amazing. And it's going to be difficult away to Spurs. So I really like this. I've got very little interest in going for Foden over Son. To be honest with you. Obviously, the fact that Son's just back off an injury makes me a little bit more cautious than I normally would be. But Son's got the guaranteed starts. Like when he's fit, if he's back to full fitness now or close to, he's got guaranteed starts, guaranteed minutes. He might be on penalties as well. He's actually probably more likely to be on penalties than not. Most of those things don't apply to Foden. Like, will Foden start this week and next week? Probably. There's probably a really high chance of that happening. But it ain't a guarantee. He got brought off in 75 minutes last week. Who knows when De Bruyne might be back? That's just another thing to worry about. And I just think the fixtures for City from 10 onwards, like from 10 to 12, like they're not terrible, right? It's Man City. They're going to score goals against most teams. But like Bournemouth away, Brighton away, Spurs at home, Liverpool away. Do I want to hold a player for those 4 fixtures that I'm always going to be slightly worried about whether he's in the team? Like for point, how much is Foden? He's like, let me just check on the other screen. 9.2, right? Yeah. So Son's 9.8. I just feel like for 0.6 million more, you get so much more money. So much more for your money from Son. So I don't know. I've got no interest in Foden. Honestly, I'm not. There's no chance I buy him today. Like how many times have you heard me say over the last week or two? I've literally got Lewis in my team, and every week I want to say moaning, but I don't think I'm moaning. I'm just discussing on an FPL video about FPL about the fact I'm never completely sure if he's going to start, and it's always like it's not a worry, but it's just a headache I don't really like having, and I just feel like with Foden it's 9.2 million and a midfield spot, so it's even worse than having a 4.7 million defender. So I've got very little. Honestly, don't get me wrong. When I see people's teams next week and they've got Foden, Haaland, and then another City player, I'll be very jealous for 1 week only against Southampton at home. Foden is capable of scoring a hat-trick this week and a hat-trick next week. It could happen, but I just can't be bothered with the headache. Honestly, I feel like that about most Man City players. Where did I get to on some of these questions? Just switch Pedro to Raul or take a hit to switch Saka and João Pedro to Foden and Cunha. I would just probably keep Saka, I think, in that case, especially if you've already got Palmer. Play Mikolenko or Greaves. I'd play the guy at home, I think. Diaz to Palmer this game week or next. If you're definitely doing it anyway, I'd be quite tempted to do it this week, to be honest with you. 4 free transfers: Trent, Saka, Havertz, and Diaz out for 8 Nuri, Foden, Son, and Solanke. Haaland captain, Palmer in for free next week. I think that comes under a don't hate it. How are you getting Palmer in for free? like as well as Foden and Son, or instead of one of them, because you wouldn't want to sell either of them next week. I think those moves are mostly fine, especially for free. Glyn, 28 months, thank you. Jackson Saka to Solanke, Son for -4. No, I probably wouldn't take a -4 to do Saka to Son. I'm not. I've got 2 free transfers. I might not even do it for free. Jackson to Solanke, fair enough. Saka to Son or Havertz to Solanke, 1 free transfer. I don't really know, to be honest. I mean, Son does have Ipswich at home in game week 11. Potential for captaincy. Depends who else you've got. He's a good option this week. Obviously, Solanke, the same applies to him, right? I guess I don't know. It's quite close. Like, I've got Saka and Solanke, so I'm tempted just to say I prefer that. But Havertz is a good option. I think he'll play. Like, I guess Saka is better than Havertz and Son is better than Solanke, and Spurs have got better fixtures, so is it better to target the better player from them and go Son, Havertz? I guess for the next 4, I'd rather have Son, Havertz than Saka, Solanke, maybe. It's so close, though, honestly. Flip a coin. If you had Mitoma and Eze, would you sell either or roll? Newcastle away, someone else away, Forest away. Oh, no, it's Spurs away, obviously. I'd probably roll, to be honest. 5 million to 500k in 2 game weeks. Bruno captain for Saka, 4 out of 12 Man United. Good luck. I hope it works for you. I need someone to tell me Foden will bang. Foden will probably bang. Off the bench. No, I'm messing. Aurier. McNeil for Semenyo or roll. Well, are you playing Semenyo or benching him? Because if you're benching him, I'd just roll. If you're playing him, I'd probably get McNeil. If I roll, I have to play Konza or Greaves. Which one? I'd be tempted by Greaves, honestly. Cyan, probably pronounced that wrong. I apologise if so. New member, thank you. What to do with Saka and Havertz? 2 free transfers, Solanke, Son. They're probably the 2 players I would go to, but I mean, if I told you right now Saka and Havertz are going to start, would you want to keep them or sell them? If you're still tempted to sell them, even though I'm telling you they're going to start, then I would probably just sell them because there's a chance they might not. But I think they probably both will. Question of the day. Play Harwood, Bellis or Konza? Bellis seems to have good set piece threat, and I have Smith Rowe in my 11. I would play... Oh, no, he's away... Yeah, home to Leicester, right? Yeah, I would play Harwood, Bellis, I think. In my sleeper draft, in the content creator sleeper draft, I've actually brought in 2 Southampton defensive players this week to play, Ramsdale and Sugawara, or however you pronounce it. Sugawara? I'm quite close to that, I think. So yeah, I'm all in. Let's get that Southampton clean sheet. That's never going to happen. Start one of Rodgers, Konza, or Savio. I think you've got to go Rodgers. Will Savio start? Who knows? Who knows? People don't understand that there's no playing it too safe in FPL. After all, you're trying to have a higher rank. Yes, although I'm not really sure what that relates to, but yeah. Playing it safe is usually another way of saying, I personally want to buy this player that I'm not quite sure will start. Why aren't you buying them too? 3 free transfers. It's not always the case, by the way, but sometimes. 3 free transfers, Saka or Son. Watkins, Isak in for Solanke. I presume it's the other way around, right? You're not going to sell Solanke. If you have to sell Solanke to get Son, I just wouldn't get Son. If it's sell Watkins or Isak to get Solanke, I guess it would be Isak. 2 free transfers, Jackson, Solanke or Trent Diaz to 8 Nuri Palmer. I wouldn't get 8 Nuri Palmer this week. I think it's... Like, the only reason to do something like that is if you're potentially going to be priced out and you know with 100% certainty whatever happens this week, you want those 2 players next week. I just... Buying 2 players before they play City and Liverpool, I just don't. It just doesn't feel right to me. Mateo Kovacic, remember the name? It's not like he's 18, right? We all know his name. Got Son captain, could look like a genius after the early kickoff or could look like a fool. Everyone's waiting for the Saka team news. It'd be nice to get some Spurs stuff. It'd be nice to get it confirmed that Son's going to start. I know what everyone's going to say. He's definitely going to start. You're probably correct. But it'd be nice to get it confirmed, right? That's what we're here for. News and info says, I think Saka and Son start, but less sure on Saka. Yeah. So, maybe I've not worded that great, but I mean, I think they both will start, but if I had to put like percentages on it, I'd put Son at like 80, 90%, Saka at like 70. So I'm more sure that Son will start, even though I think that, yeah, does that make sense? I feel like it makes a little bit of sense. It makes sense to me anyway. Like if I had to put my money on it, I'd put more of my money on Son starting than Saka. I'm incredibly hungover after watching a second Austrian league game last night. I fear for my FPL choices. Just go and buy Bruno Fernandes and captain him. Why not? So Jackson to Solanke then. Yeah, I like that, yeah. Thoughts on Cunha over Solanke? No. No chance I would do that. Maybe in a few weeks, but not now. Start Leif Davis or Andy Robertson. Luke, thank you very much. I think if you've got Leif Davis with Everton at home, you start him. I think Robertson will start, by the way, but I think you've got to play Leif Davis, right? Trent, Diaz to Son, Robinson. Robinson, interesting. Like Fulham defense has been all right, hasn't it? The fixtures are okay. I don't know if I'd buy Robinson right now, but I don't mind it to get Son. I hadn't even thought of Robinson, to be honest. Like I know the fixtures are pretty good for Fulham, like generally. Are they that good defensively? Villa at home, Everton away, Brentford at home, Palace away, Wolves. They're not terrible, are they? Yeah, don't hate it. I've not given. I must admit, I've not given 4.5-ish million defenders a huge amount of thought this week. Robinson doesn't strike me as someone I would definitely want to buy, but yeah, it goes down as a don't hate it. Don't hate it. Can I pop down to Bournemouth and measure myself against the side? I can't, unfortunately. Do they do flights from Galway to Bournemouth? Probably not. I've captained Solanke today. Very nice. Isn't Raul Jimenez a steal for the upcoming games? He's a pretty good option, yeah. And also, by the way, the penalty situation. After Raul Jimenez took the penalty, there was some kind of quote from Marco Silva saying that it should have been Andreas Pereira or something like that, which made it sound like Andreas is definitely first choice. But then there's been another quote since, and I don't have it in front of me, so I'm going to paraphrase a little bit, but basically saying they'll decide game by game. So it's not actually Andreas Pereira that's 100% penalty taker, which means Raul Jimenez might take them. His record is also really good. So he looks like a bargain right now. It looks like an absolute bargain. But again, it's a bit like Delap a couple of weeks ago, right? You either need a cheap striker or you don't. Most people probably don't have forwards that they need to get rid of to get Jimenez unless it's to fund another move or they're on wildcard or something like that. If we somehow get a gift from the gods and find out about Saka, don't go for Sterling if Saka doesn't start. I wouldn't be buying Sterling, though. Would you punt on Foden if you knew he starts 3 out of 4? I'd probably still buy Son. Like honestly, you're not going to get me saying that I think Foden is an amazing option. No, let me rephrase that. You're not going to get me to buy Foden. Sorry. If you want to buy him, you should buy him. Like I'm an idiot, right? I've got Bruno Fernandes in my team. I'm sitting at 2 million rank. I don't know what I'm doing. If you want to buy Foden, you should. I'm just not prepared to take the risk on the starts. Even if you say 3 out of 4, he's still missing 1. Son's not going to miss any of the next 4, and he's probably on penalties as well. And the fixture's overall better, I would say, for Spurs next 4 than City. And even if Foden starts, what minute is he going to get subbed off at? He could play the next 90 minutes. Foden is a must for me. People forgot just how good he is. Foden's a brilliant player. He's a brilliant player. So is Son. I'm just being honest. Like, I think sometimes people wait for me to say, "Oh no, 100%, I would definitely get Foden over Son." It's not going to happen. Like you don't need me to tell you it's okay. You just do it if you want him. There's a lot of people that want Foden, but they're too scared to press the button, which tells you that you're not completely confident in his starts. And that's the difference, right? Outside of maybe today, there's a little bit of worry about Son because he's just back from injury, but I'm never going to be sat there checking the Spurs team sheet to see if Son's on there. A Foden owner will check every single time. It doesn't make him a bad option. It doesn't. I think he's great. He could absolutely outscore Son next 2. But I ain't going to buy him. Son has been awful all season and not playing 9 makes no sense. Yeah, don't buy him then, honestly. Got to admire your Bruno hold this season. yeah, like it is what it is. Like there's just been other stuff to do most weeks. I kept him on wildcard. Maybe that was the mistake, but otherwise, not really that big of a deal, I don't think. I have one free transfer. My options are either to roll or to bring in Brennan or Porro for Semenyo or Konza. If I roll, I'll have to play Carvalho. I would probably not roll then. I would probably make a move, and I'd probably get Brennan Johnson, I guess. De Bruyne is back in training. Yeah, De Bruyne is not going to play, I don't think, this weekend, by the way. He's pretty much out, but yeah. Foden played nearly every game last season with Rodri and De Bruyne around. Not sure the narrative with his minutes this season. Well, go and look at his minutes so far. It's not a narrative, it's what's happened, right? I mean, De Bruyne and Rodri weren't around last week and he played 77 minutes. He didn't start against Newcastle. De Bruyne and Rodri weren't for that game either. I mean, for what it's worth, Foden's had like issues this season, right? He's been ill, I think. He's had a bit of an illness, and that's taken him a bit longer to get up to scratch. So he's probably just fine now, and he's been building up fitness. Again, I'm not really sure what you want me to say. I think he will start against Wolves and Southampton. If you want to buy him, you should absolutely buy him. I'm not going to buy him. Do I reckon Luis Diaz starts? Yes. Yeah, please don't spam. I've answered that a few times already. Maybe I should put it in the news, actually. I think Diaz will start. I don't know, though. I think Diaz. Oh. There you go. Son or Palmer in the long run? Well, from game week 12 onwards, definitely Cole Palmer. This stream is going to be Foden lovers versus Andy. I think Foden's a great player. He's a great player. And I'm not really, honestly, I can't say too much more about how good I think he is and how many points he could score over the next 2 weeks. Saka to Foden / Fernandez plus Wood, Calvert-Lewin to Solanke -4. I wouldn't take a -4 to get Solanke. I would just do the Saka move if you want to get rid of him. And I would probably get Foden over Fernandez for like the next 3. Sell Palmer or Salah for Son for a -4 hit? Neither. If you have to sell one of them, that's tricky, to be honest. If you have to sell one of them, I'd probably want Salah for 10, 11, and 12, but I'd want Palmer for 9 and 12. I don't know. I guess I'd sell Palmer before Salah. But obviously, it's more money being spent that way. Like if you sell Salah, you free up more money for other moves. Please tell me Trossard is a good option. He might be an okay option this week. Long term, not so sure. Play Palmer or Smith Rowe this week. I think if you can't bench Palmer. Simple as that, I think. If Foden was 100% starting, would you change Bruno for him? I mean, maybe if I had the money in the bank. I wouldn't take a hit to do it, though. I probably wouldn't spend 2 free transfers doing it either. I have 10 million and need a goalkeeper and defender. Already got 3 City. Anana and Dallo? Oh, no, actually, that's 10.1, I think. I've not goalkeepers. Jesus. I mean, I still quite like Flecken at 4.5. If you want to spend a bit more, I mean, Man United's fixtures are alright. You could go Anana. The problem is, if you go for a goalkeeper, you're stuck with them for ages. I still feel like I would go for Flecken and then a defender. Porro, if you can afford it. Does Porro and Flecken work? Again, I've probably not given goalkeepers and defenders a huge amount of thought this week. There might be better options. Would you do Saka and Jackson to Son and Solanke? I'd be tempted if it was for free. I wouldn't do it for a hit. Johnson brace to kickstart the day. Could happen, yeah. Bench one attacker of Foden. Come on. Come on. You're not benching Foden, are you? If you've got Foden, you can't bench him. Madison, Imbermo, Calvert-Lewin, Bowen, Gordon, Solanke. I think it's got to be Bowen or Gordon. Spurs away or Brighton at home. I think I would bench Bowen of that lot. I would play Calvert-Lewin over Bowen because of Ipswich. If you don't want to bench Bowen, just bench Calvert-Lewin. Got to play Greaves over Bruno. Come on, like if you're gonna troll, you've got to be a bit more subtle than that. Am I tempted to move for Reece James now he's fit? No. Like, is Reece James ever truly fit? Like, I would need to see a few games, like multiple games, before I'm tempted to go that. I think Maresca said he can't play more than one game a week. Is that going to be in the Premier League? Not a guarantee. I need to see a lot from Reece James before I'm tempted. I mean, he's 4.9 million, so he's nice and cheap, but I need to see a lot. Saka to Foden, no Son is already on 3 Spurs. Foden's a great option, yeah. Yeah, like it's the sad reality with Reece James is you just hearing that he's fit doesn't. There's no confidence in that, right? There's no confidence that will be more than 2 or 3 games. I hope it is. He's a brilliant player. I would love to have him in Tuchel's England side for World Cup 2026. Relax, Liverpool fans. I'm not saying necessarily instead of Reece James, right? I'm sure there's ways. Instead of Trent, I'm sure there's ways to fit them both in somehow. But it's not going to happen. Is Foden for the next 2, then Son afterwards a good use of 2 free transfers? I would just get Son. He's not in the European squad, but he's broken and not played 90 minutes for over 500 days. Oh my days. Is that true? Not played 90 minutes for over 500 days. That's crazy. That probably is true. Typically, what comments do you read? I don't know. Just ones like that, I guess. Trent leaves for Real Madrid in January, so not too bad for them. Don't see it. Although he's not signed a new contract yet, has he? Whenever there is worry about Saka making the 11, he always starts and smashes it. I mean, there's worry every week about... No, it's not worry every week. But he's going to be yellow flagged a lot this season. If I recall correctly, did we not do... No, did we have this... Yeah, there was... Oh, no, it was Raya. It was Raya in Game Week 6 we were trying to figure out. As a Spurs fan, Johnson is clear of Son right now. Son will be rusty. Also, we've only had 2 penalties since the start of last season. Sure. Yeah, Brendan Johnson's good. And he's less money. Would you do Havertz to Solanke if you already had Madison? I think Havertz to Solanke is a good move. I don't think it's a guarantee that Trent goes to Real Madrid. Definitely a possibility, though. Do they definitely want him? Hope Salah puts his big game mentality on. Palmer scores, Mbeumo early goal, and a Haaland hat-trick. That's all I want. That's all you want? I'm sure you'll get it. Love the content. Start 2. Rogers, Smith Rowe, Harewood, Bellis. I think you've got to start the attackers. Feels like Matty Cash is being overlooked. Yeah, I just don't think many people are buying a Aston Villa defender at the moment. Although, could be tempted to do it soon-ish if I need a cheap one. I want to thank you for suggesting going Saka captain over Salah last deadline stream. Went from 1.2 million to 141k. Oof, what a rank jump. What a rank jump. I mean, who did Salah have last week? I feel like that was probably an easy decision. Yeah, Palace away, Southampton at home. I guess if you've got Salah, it's never going to be that easy not to captain him. But still, favorite budget asset of all time, Lord Lundstrom. I didn't really own Lundstrom for enough of that season to love him. I'm going to go for Stuart Dallas. Dallas. Is that the right? That's his name, right? Leeds absolutely smashed it. I think in one game, Man United beat him like 6-1 and Dallas scored. I think he came off my bench or something. It doesn't. Do you ever get those words? It just doesn't sound right when you say it. Dallas. Sounds weird. Bench Rodgers or Dibbling and why? I think you've got to play You don't have to, but I'd be tempted to play Dibbling when it's Leicester at home, basically. Saka to Son or Diaz to Johnson or neither. I think I'd rather do Diaz to Johnson than Saka to Son. Dallas 2 got Dallas. It doesn't sound right. Stuart Dallas. 2 goals off the bench at City away was peak. Can't remember if I had him that week. Because all the talk was going for Ayling. And I can't remember how I ended up on Dallas instead. But it worked out so well. Semenyo and Flacken for McNeil and Pickford went for the fixtures. Don't let me down. Good luck. Good luck. Goalkeeper transfers. Interesting. Double Leicester defence against Southampton. I wouldn't necessarily go out of my way to get that, but it's probably okay if you already own them. Is Vardio a premium defender now? Well, price-wise, yeah. He's a good option. People really sleeping on Foden while De Bruyne is out. Trust me, people aren't sleeping on Foden. Been a bunch of comments. In fact, if anything, you're sleeping on how slow you've been to say that. Bench boost? No, I don't think so. Flacken, Fast, Lewis, Smith, Rowe. It's not terrible, but I probably wouldn't bench boost it. People are sleeping on Bruno Fernandes. Wouldn't it be amazing if Fernandes outscores Foden? It's probably not going to happen, but wouldn't it be amazing? Do you think that was Saka in the video? I don't know. Honestly, I've barely watched it. Like, I figure if it was definitely Saka, people would know. The fact that people have had to spend hours trying to figure out whether it's Saka or not means it's probably not that obvious. So I don't know. Maybe it was Saka. Maybe it wasn't. That's why I'm just tempted to get Son and just put myself out of the headache. Please tell me how to Foden captain. You should. Foden's honestly best player in the league. Best FPL pick for game week 8 and 9. You should captain him for sure. Do you think Ahmad will start? I have a choice of Ahmad versus Brentford or Keane versus Ipswich. I mean, I'm not convinced he will start, but Garnacho had a little bit of a knock, I think. He was back in training, though. So there's probably an okay chance that Amad Diallo starts. I would probably risk it over Keane. The thing is, isn't Branthwaite back? Have I got that wrong? Not sure if he's fully back yet or not. I know he was out again. Ipswich away. I would probably just start Ahmad and hope for the best. McNeil will outscore everyone, not Foden. Any kiwis for breakfast? No, I've not had kiwis. I've not even eaten yet today. I haven't had kiwis for ages. Would I play Matoma against Newcastle or Delap against Everton? That's really tough, like, because Delap's the home game, but I think I would play Matoma. Why do I prefer Son over Foden? Guaranteed starts, guaranteed minutes, penalties, probably. Yes, I know. Spurs haven't had many penalties in the last couple of seasons. I know. But if they get one, like if City get a penalty, Foden's definitely not taking it. If Spurs get one, some probably will. Did you not once tell us you ate kiwis with skin on, or have I imagined that? No, that's definitely with skin on. It's much easier, right? People like spoon it out. It's like pain in the hole. You just cut if you got leave the skin on. You just cut a little bit off the end and then just cut it into slices. Job done. Is Foden actually a good option, or are people trolling on a wild card? If you think Foden's going to get good starts and good minutes over the next 2, 3, 4 weeks, he's a good option. Simple as that. If you have Johnson and Solanke, do you still prefer Son over Foden? Yeah, probably. I guess the only thing there is you maybe block Porro if you want Porro, but if you're not interested in him, then I would go Son. If you think there's a chance you're going to buy Porro at some point, then yeah, I'd maybe go Foden. Why'd you stick with Bruno Fernandes? Honestly, if you want to know why I've stuck with Bruno Fernandes, go and watch team selection or transfer plans last week. Honestly, I feel like I've spoken about it quite a lot now. Start Aina or Robertson, and you like Saka to Foden. I love Saka to Foden. Start Aina or Robbo. I'd go for Aina, I think. Does Foden play on the wing or through the middle? Presumably he'll play through the middle, but who knows for sure. But yeah, I would suspect if it's going to be anything, it'd be Bernardo on the right and Foden central. You don't drink orange. You don't eat oranges with the skin on. Come on. Would you start Dunk or Konza? Brighton away. Yeah, I'd start Konza, I think. The thing is, with comments like, look at when Son last hauled, and that's the answer as to whether to get him. People said the same thing about Saka. Well, he's not as explosive as Palmer, and then look what happened last week. He got 3 returns. If you had, like, I think when you kind of go down that kind of narrative thinking, like you're almost like, it's like you're guaranteeing that Foden will definitely get like a massive haul, and that Son has just got no chance of doing that. But obviously, it's something more in the middle, right? It's not. We always think of the extremes of what someone's going to do. Son might not get a double-digit haul at all over the next 4 game weeks, but he might get 8 to 9 points every week. If you had said Salah, would you keep or change to Palmer, Saka, Son to free up money and upgrade elsewhere? It depends what the upgrade is, right? But I don't think there's any rush to get any of those 3 players for Salah this week. Would you start Rodgers or Smith Rowe? I think I would have to start Smith Rowe at home if I had him. I think he will start. I think the game against City was just one of those things. If FPL didn't exist, what do you think you'd be doing for a living? Well, unless they'd sacked me, probably still working at EA, I expect. I doubt I would have gone looking for anything major. Is Dallo the best defender for the next 6 fixtures? I don't know if he's the best, but he's probably not terrible. Would you start Rodgers or Chris Wood? I would have to start Chris Wood, I think. Is it bad to keep Saka even if he's not starting? I wouldn't say it's. I mean, it does feel a little bit bad because of the amount of money he costs. Oh, Son has arrived with the squad. They're all in suits with t-shirts. What did I do at EA? A bunch of stuff, mostly customer service. The last thing I did was like community management for FIFA, like on the forums. I am a dafty for doing Havertz to Solanke, my only free transfer last night instead of waiting for Saka news. Not if Saka starts. I guess if he gets benched, that'll be annoying. Milenkovic thoughts? Like him? I like Forest defence in general. They got some good home fixtures coming up over the next bunch of weeks. Can't remember exactly which weeks now. Let me just double check. I guess Palace at home this week, right? And then it is yeah, Leicester away in 9 is not that bad. West Ham at home in 10. Even Newcastle at home in 11. I wouldn't be completely against playing a Forest defender. Ipswich at home in 13. Pretty good. Don't you want to become Scouser? Not something I've really thought about, no, to be honest. Watkins to Solanke. Watkins, Solanke, and Diaz to Madison. Watkins, Solanke, and Diaz to Madison. Okay, or -4, Calvert-Lewin to Solanke. I wouldn't take a -4 to get rid of Calvert-Lewin before Ipswich. And who do you prefer, Madison or Johnson? I would just take Johnson and save the money, I think. Rate my wild card. Mikalenko, Kelleher. Who's your other goalkeeper? I wouldn't go for Kelleher on his own for too long. Lewis, Vandenberg, Foden, Son, Saka. Or just Dibbling, Haaland, Solanke, Watkins. I feel like I'd want some more expensive defenders in there somewhere. It feels like having Haaland, Saka, Son, Foden, and Watkins. I dread to think what the bench looks like. Feels like there's a bit too much money spent in some of those big premiums. I think it's fine to want to fit them all in. I think Dibbling is a nice enabler, but maybe one of like Watkins or Saka could be dropped. Play Welbeck or Rodgers. I would play Welbeck, I think. Yeah, I like Welbeck next too. Is Foden on your cards? I'm not buying Foden, no. But Foden is a good option, again. Diaz and Trent to Palmer and Uriel. Yeah, I'd wait. I just don't see the rush of getting Palmer in before Liverpool 8. Don't get me wrong, Diaz against Chelsea at home is not amazing either, but I'd rather just save the transfer. Any worries on Haaland? I'm not going to worry about Haaland, no. Not against Wolves or Southampton. Like, I'm going to captain Haaland this week, and if he blanks against Wolves, I'm going to captain him against Southampton. Do you have any words of consolation for double Man City defence pickers like me? I even have Edison. You've got two players for one of the best defences in the league with good fixtures. Best defender below 4.3, Harewood Bellis. I'd probably go for Greaves, I think. Although Harewood Bellis this week in 10 does have a good fixture, so it depends how often you need to play him. We don't have Arsenal team news. Why do I have Bruno Fernandes? Mostly because I just love being asked why I have Bruno Fernandes. That's the only reason he's still in the team now. Do I have any ideas what the mystery chip is about? Nope, zero. I mean, I've got a feeling they probably still don't know what it's going to be. That would be my guess. Like we're only a few months away. They've got to announce it. I don't know. I don't know why they did it. Well, I do know why. It's to keep engagement, right? I think it's a bit rubbish. I think it's a bit rubbish to have a chip we don't know what it is. Wood or Calvert-Lewin? Probably Chris Wood. Would you captain Salah or Palmer? Don't like. I'd go for Salah at home. I think that actually be a pretty easy decision. Like Palmer's great, but I'd definitely take Salah at home. It's going to be a good test of this Liverpool defence this week. Even if Saka is fine, and even if he's starting, I'm still a little bit tempted just to get Son. Gotta be honest. I also quite like the idea of just getting to 3 free transfers next week. Salah and Johnson or Son and Martinelli for the next 5 game weeks. Salah and Johnson. Definitely. I brought Gundogan. Do you think he's a better differential than Foden? Not really, no. I think, like, if you've got any concerns about Foden starting, I think they're even more relevant for Gundogan starting, I think. I don't know. Maybe Gundogan will have better minutes than Foden, but I'm not massively a fan of him as an option. I'm hoping Mystery Chip is to switch a captain with vice captain after the fact. Palmer Game Week 6 Hall captain would have been nice. Yeah, it's got to be something a bit more like you can't announce there's this mystery chip that's going to be in January. We're going to announce it later on because we don't really know what it's going to be yet. And then just say, oh, it's a captain switch. It's a bit boring, isn't it? It's got to be. This is the problem now. Even though they've not necessarily bigged it up, it will get bigged up because of the fact you don't know what it is. So you can't have some. Oh, it's 2 captains. Oh, brilliant. Wow. Glad I waited like 6 months to find that out. So it's got to be big. And in some ways, that worries me a little bit about what they might try and do. But look, we're all in the same boat, essentially. None of us know what it is. So we're all going to have to just figure it out when it gets announced. Sell Salah and Watkins for a might note. I wouldn't take a -4, I don't think, to get Haaland. Maybe. Maybe I would. Haaland and Johnson for a -4. You get to captain Haaland next 2 weeks. Be a little bit tempted. But I'd be a little bit tempted to do that. But I feel like you could just do it for free next week and captain Salah this week. Start Jackson or Dibbling or Jackson to Solanke. I'd be quite tempted by Jackson to Solanke. Eze to Johnson, I would just keep Eze. Salah and Johnson also. Oh yeah, did that one. Yeah, I would just keep Eze, I think. I get why people want to do that move, and it's not terrible, but I would probably just hold. What's the news on Timber's fitness? He might be available. I don't think he'll start, though. I think Arteta said... Oh, let me find out what he said now. I think he said something like... I can't remember if I tweeted about it or not. Like they would have to basically see what they were like in training. So it sounded like they were close, but not necessarily guaranteed to start. Will Isak play? I think Isak will start. 3 transfers and don't know what transfers to make. Not sure I even need one. Just roll to 4 transfers. It's the beauty of this season, right? Can only start 2 of Porro, Lewis, and Rogers. That'd be Porro and Rogers for me, I think. I think it's a bit in situations like that. It's a bit easier to bench Lewis this week than it will be next week. What TV series have you watched recently? I just watched the Mr. McMahon documentary on Netflix. Otherwise, I've not really been watching too much specific series recently. Is Dallo a decent choice? I think for defenders from Man United, it's like West Ham away and Chelsea at home is okay, but really it's this week and then 11, 12, and 13. If Bruno gets a brace, you got to put him on the wall. If Bruno's not getting a brace, I'm not sure what to do today actually because I can't. It's annoying that the Man United game is on TV, but I probably won't be able to watch it, or I won't be able to watch all of it for sure. Like, definitely won't be able to watch all of it. I might be able to catch the first half. I'm tempted just to skip all the games today. I'm tempted just to skip all the games and just check them later this evening. Maybe do the match of the day challenge. Because I've got Spurs where I might not have any attackers apart from Solanke. I might keep Saka and he's playing this evening. I definitely won't be able to watch that game. Fernandez against Brentford. Who else is playing? I'm starting Rogers. That's about it, actually. Lewis and Haaland tomorrow. Oh, and Burmo today as well, obviously. And my double Arsenal defence. So, yeah, I'm tempted to just wait. I'm not going to be streaming match today. No chance. But I might just, skip all the games. If I bring Son in, I'll probably... I need to go to the gym after this, so I don't know if I'll be able to watch the Spurs game. Glenn, thank you. 2 free transfers. Trent and Imbert. No, I wouldn't sell Imbermo. Nope. Trent and Imbermo to 8 Yuri and Son. No, like Son's good. He's not that good. And also, I just don't think there's any need for 8 Nuri for the next two weeks. I mean, there's a lot of people. I've thought about myself, like trying to bring in 8 Nuri like ahead of time, but the next 2 fixtures just aren't amazing. Was it City at home and Brighton away, right? How likely Foden to start? Pretty likely, I think. I have Saka and Havertz, and I'm afraid of the yellow mark. Any advice? I have 2 transfers. Solanke and Son, maybe, or just keep them. I think they will both start, but again, I can't sit here and guarantee it. Oh god, now Spurs keep posting media content with bloody Son in it. Just like, has anyone else, by the way, thought that Spurs is the early kickoff? Like, it's going to be such a killer if you do Saka to Son and he blanks. It shouldn't matter. I know it should not matter at all, but it has crossed my mind. Foden or Johnson as a Diaz replacement. I think Foden's probably better next 3, but obviously Johnson gives you more money to spend elsewhere, which could be very handy. Remember, Palmer is 2 yellow cards away from a suspension. Is that true? That might be true. Still, I wouldn't not buy him just because of that, though. Although, like, imagine if he gets one this week against Liverpool. He's only 1 away from a suspension. I'd definitely not buy until 12 then, and he'll score loads of points in the meantime. If you had Aina, would you start him over anyone in your 11? I would probably start him ahead of... I think I'd maybe start him ahead of Lewis. Will you keep him first bench over Semenyo? No, I'd probably just play Semenyo. How's Semenyo and Trent to Son and Pinnock? Quite like that, yeah. How do I have Fernandez? I just put him in the team and haven't taken him out. Actually looking forward to playing Herwood Bellis. That's the beauty of playing draft over on Sleeper, because like I'm also going to be rooting for the Southampton clean sheet. I got Sugawara and Ramsdale in my team, along with Aina as well. I'm playing a 4-3-3. I can't remember who else I've got. I've got Mbermo. And then... Oh, Calvert-Lewin. Calvert-Lewin, Isak and Delap. I'm benching Mateta. I quite want Palmer to get a yellow card this week now. Keep Salah and Semenyo and Van Dijk, or go to Palmer, Foden. Oh, excuse me. Palmer, Foden and a 4. I would just keep them, I think. Again, I just don't see a massive reason to use 3 transfers to get Palmer in before Liverpool away. Like, if you really want Foden that much, you could just do Salah to Foden, right? Wood or Rodgers have to bench one? I would definitely play the guy at home on penalties. FPL Fantasy Challenge is so rubbish. Do you agree? I haven't played it this season, so I don't know. I think it's a nice idea. I kind of wanted something like maybe I thought I wanted something that I actually didn't, but I've said it for a while now. The cup in FPL is quite boring, and it'd be much nicer if we could pick a new team every week. I think if that was incorporated into your main FPL team, I'd be more likely to play it. But maybe I wouldn't. Maybe I'm just talking rubbish. Yeah, I've not really had much interest in challenge. It does look like they're gonna put tackles and interceptions and stuff in next season, I reckon. Ball recoveries. How likely is it that Havertz starts? Is it more likely than Saka? I would say so, yeah. Sells is fit, yeah. I can't remember who, someone retweeted something about Sells, but it looks like he's fit. Semenyo to Kulusevski. I'll go Semenyo to Johnson, maybe. I'm not the biggest fan of Kulusevski for FPL. Scoring for FPL is archaic. It's also simple and perfectly fine. I've said this many times, right? Adding ball recoveries and tackles and interceptions, like, does it really make the game more fun? I personally don't think so, and I'd rather they didn't do it. There's plenty of games out there that have got those rules that aren't as popular as FPL is. So I actually don't think they need to do it, but I think they're going to. I'm not going to go over and over whether I think it's Saka or Timber. I just don't know. You're going to be crying about Foden in the knee-jerk video. I doubt it. Have you ever seen me cry over a player? Not really. 2 free transfers, Wood and Van der Ven in for Robertson and João Pedro. Yeah, I don't hate that. Like João Pedro's, it depends though. If you can bench João Pedro and he's not much of an issue, then you don't need to sell him. But if you're having to play him, then yeah, I would get rid. Going to make more players usable, yes, but maybe it will. I don't want to be like closed-minded to it, right? Maybe it'll be that we'll have massive amount of more players and the template will be massively different and you'll hardly ever see a team that's similar. But at the end of the day, what will happen when they introduce this stuff is straight away people will work out what the points difference is. So if you saw the bonus changes this year, what did people do straight away? They worked out who would have scored more or less points last season based on those changes. So when they introduce interceptions, tackles, ball recoveries, whatever it is that they introduce, people will go back and they will work out who would have done really well, and then they'll work out whether or not they're a brilliant player for the start of the season. Like in Sky, for example, when Sky Fantasy... Now, I wasn't a massive player of Sky Fantasy, but I played like one full season, and I kind of know how it works. Like, for ages in that, right, you'd always have... Most people, anyway, would always have Rodri over Foden, because Rodri was so consistent with tackles and passes and stuff like that. So, although in that game, because they had a different scoring metric, different players were good, people just worked out that Rodri was great. So Rodri then just became template. Now, it might be different in FPL because you've got subs and stuff like that. And transfers aren't limited to like 40 or 50, whatever it was when the game stopped. It was similar, like for a while, like you'd have Van Dijk instead of Trent because of passes and stuff like that. So there were different players that were viable, but they just became template instead. Like people will always figure out who the best scorers are going to be. So if Rodri next season is suddenly going to become amazing because of tackles and stuff like that, you know what everyone will do? They will just put Rodri in, and he'll be a template pick. You can never fully get away from a kind of template. I think pricing is more important than adding different metrics. I think this season they've done a good job. But you're always going to have certain players that are popular. Like in Burmo, for example, is just really good value, so a lot of people will have him. But I've got Haaland. I don't have Palmer or Salah, right? A lot of people will. So I think this year there has been a bit of a split. Like people that wildcard this week, they might not have any Arsenal players at all. I've got 3. Anyway, it's deadline stream. Why are we talking so much about what may or may not come next year? I don't know how you can stomach looking at Fernandes in your team. I honestly, I find those comments so like he's just a player. He's one of 15 players with a good fixture this week. Like, it's like whatever. Yeah, rolling transfers is another really good change. I think. Next year, honestly, I'm saying this now. It probably won't be. My game week 1 team will be so much safer with picks than it was this year, like Kwanzaa and Barco, because I think rolling transfers the first few weeks is so handy, and I just wasn't able to do it. Havertz, Diaz, and Trent for Solanke, Son, and Nate Nuri from -4. I probably wouldn't do it. I get why you're looking at it. I don't think I would do that. It's not terrible, though. Start 3, Saliba, Aina, Van Dijk, Davis, and Fass. Oh, that's actually interesting. I think I would start Davis. Davis, Saliba, and Aina, I think. But it's tough to bench Van Dijk. Wood, Fass, or Vardy, Robinson, Matsurawi, Livramento. Wood and Fass, I think. Saka to Foden, Diaz to Son, Semenyo to Dibbling, 3 free transfers. Don't hate it. Saka and Eze to Foden and Johnson from -4. I probably wouldn't take a -4. I'd just do one of those moves. Should I start 8 Nuri or Greaves? Probably Greaves. And generally thinking Saka to Fernandes isn't bad. I probably wouldn't do that personally. Would you ever support a change where a vice captain gets 1.5 points as well as 2 times for captain? Like again, like it's fine, but like, does it make the game better? I don't know. Like maybe it makes it a little bit less frustrating when your vice captain does really well. But like picking captaincy is like a big part of the game, right? So I don't think so. Just talking about the mystery chip, maybe FPL are waiting for content creators to suggest the best idea. Possibly, yeah. How much better would FPL be if it functioned and updated as well as the Champions League Fantasy app interface? I guess it'd be a little bit nicer. Would it be much better? I don't know. Like lots of people are playing it, right? Saka, Diaz, Havertz, Johnson, Palmer, Solanke, 3 free transfers. I don't think you need to make the Saka to Palmer move. You just do the other two and roll the other transfer. Emmy, 4 million goalkeeper, Rico, Robert. Okay. What is the best way to get Haaland? 4 free transfers. Well, you've got to sell Saka probably, haven't you? I mean, I'm not going to be able to work this out. You'll have to go and work it out yourself. But Watkins to Haaland, Saka down to like a Johnson or something like that, and then work out how much more money you need to get and who you have to downgrade. With double Arsenal defence, do I bench Semenyo and start Greaves? I don't know. I'd still be tempted to play Semenyo, but yeah, I don't know. If it was me, I think I probably would go Greaves. The captaincy suggestion would be great because most weeks everyone's on the same player, so having it come down to vice captaincy as a differential would be fun. Again, though, right? Like you've got to think about how people think. Okay, we had this discussion the other day when there was something about vice captain. So your idea will be that if vice captain gets 1.5 points, you go for a bigger differential. You don't. You just go for the player you think is going to score the second most amount of points. So let's say everyone in my team was fit. I'm going to go Haaland captain, Saka vice captain. That's it. Like I'm not going to go massively differential because I'm going to want the most points. So I'm just going to pick the top 2 players in my team. So it won't create loads of differentials. People might say they will do that, but they won't. Trent, Diaz, Havertz to 8, Nuri, Palmer, Solanke for free. Again, like, okay, would I rather have Palmer than Diaz this week? Yes. But like 8 Nuri instead of Trent? No. I guess Solanke instead of Havertz? Maybe. 3 transfers and bringing in Palmer before Liverpool away. It doesn't make that much sense to me. I think I'd rather have the 3 players on the right this week, if that helps. I think it's fine if it's for free. I think FPL is like gaming, right? Take FIFA, okay? People don't play FIFA for fun. They play to like in Ultimate Team, they play to maximize absolutely everything. What are the best settings? Where should my slider be? Which player is going to play well? Which formation is best? What should my tactics be? That's how not everyone thinks like that, and not everyone plays FPL like that. But that's what a lot of people do. So anything you want to add to make people go more differential, if all it comes down to is trying to get the most points, they won't go differential. They'll go for who they think is going to score the most points. People will always do that with stuff. They'll always try and figure out how to get the most points because that's what the whole point of the game is, right? Like, let's say game week 12 onwards, I've got Haaland and Palmer. They're just going to be my captain and vice captain every week. Now, maybe, like, in Burmo, for example, when he's got Ipswich at home in game week 9, maybe I'd vice captain him. But then so will everyone else who owns him for game week 9. And he's got a lot of ownership, right? Especially with engaged managers. And I will say, like, I'm not going to sit here and complain if they make changes to the game, but I think a lot of the times the changes that people suggest are they're not going to have the outcome that they think they will, basically. Yeah, how about you can't captain the same person twice in a row? Yeah, I don't like that. I just think that adds a bit more it adds even more variance, I think. I don't know. I think that works better to make people do different things more so than adding extra points for the vice captain. I'll say that. Thoughts on Kwanzaa Kanate duo for future wildcard? I don't like it because you're using 2 Liverpool spots for 1 defender. And like right now, you might not want triple Liverpool, but at some point you might. Eze versus Forest or Rodgers versus Fulham. I'd probably go Eze out of the 2. Take out Cavalier, and he's been really poor form and won't get anything against it. He's playing Ipswich. I'm just going to keep him. This game week isn't uneventful enough to have these sort of discussions. But, I mean, we've done Foden and Saka to death already. Like, what more can I say? I don't know if Saka's going to start. I think Foden's great. I'm not going to buy him. What about Super Captain? Whoever gets most points in your team gets captaincy. That just takes away a decision, doesn't it? Are the premium FPL content creators not invited to a working group to help improve the game? I've never been asked, to be honest. Maybe they do ask some people. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's. I don't think it's completely closed shop. But I've never talked to FPL about changes. I don't think. I don't think I've ever talked to FPL at all, apart from when I was trying to get my account back when it got hacked. Son or Foden, Son for me. Diaz out for Johnson or Jota, Johnson for me. Diaz and Trent to Son and Robinson for Fulham. Yeah, someone mentioned that earlier. I don't mind that. Erez, thank you. Taking a -4 to bring Son in. I probably wouldn't take a -4. Did I get my account back? Yes. Got very lucky. Had to use my wild card. Did rubbish that season. Bench 1, Rodgers, Smith Rowe, or Delap. I'd probably bench Rodgers, I think. Diaz for Johnson or Saka for Foden can only do 1. I would sell Diaz, I think. By the way, I've got to do 2 draws for the sleeper Pick'em Let's Talk FPL League after the deadline stream. There's one for the Game Week 7 winner for the shirt of their choice, and then I've got AirPods as well for whoever got the most predictions right from Game Weeks 4 to 7. I think there's 3 people on the list who got tied on 27 predictions, so I'm going to do both of those draws after the stream, and then at some point this week I'll get them posted. So if you want to sign up for that, there's a link in the description below, but I'll talk about that a bit more later. Start bench Robertson versus Rico. I think they both. Well, I think Robertson starts. I'm always a bit scared to say that I think Rico Lewis will start. I think I'd play Rico. I'm not massively. I'm not massively sure. Saka and Diaz to Palmer and Johnson for free. I would just keep Saka and do Diaz to Johnson and save your other transfer. Thoughts on Diaz to Foden? Can't get to Son for the next 2 games before he becomes Salah Palmer in 10. Yeah, I think Foden's good. Watkins and Garnacho to Jimenez and Palmer, game week 8, 9, or 10. 9 maybe. Do I bench boost on Robinson, Collins, Rodgers, Cunha? Well, that's not your bench boost, though, is it? You must have a goalkeeper in there. Unless there's a goalkeeper called Robinson. Is there a goalkeeper called Robinson? I thought it was like Anthony Robinson. I probably wouldn't bench boost that, no. Diaz to Johnson, Havertz to Watkins, or Roll. I think Diaz to Johnson's nice. I'd maybe roll with Havertz, though. Teloth. I'm excited about Tuchel's appointment. Did you see Carragher's comment who said he was disappointed a foreign manager was appointed? Yeah, look, I know maybe I should care more. I don't really have a strong opinion on whether or not the manager... Like, of course, it would probably be better if the manager was English, but I'm very excited about Tuchel being manager. And I think it's good that Premier League football is back this weekend because that means the content around should the manager be English or not will hopefully stop. Until he loses his first game, and then it'll be back again. I honestly, look, having the best manager doesn't necessarily bring success, right? It took many attempts for Pep Guardiola to win the Champions League with Man City. But if England are ever going to win something, I feel like we've been here like a million times before, it's with this group of players and a manager like Tuchel. It's about as good as it's going to get. And so I am excited. Does it mean we'll win? No. Am I going to enjoy it anyway? Absolutely yes. Watch when we get hard draws at tournaments now. So be it, right? It happens. You got to beat big teams at some point. I don't think Eddie Howe would have taken. Apparently, he didn't get approached. I don't think he would have wanted it anyway. Graham Potter just doesn't. I don't know what's going on there. He hasn't had a job since Chelsea. Who else is there? English managers. Like, there's probably conversations to be had about why there's so few like top England managers. That's fine, but like right now, there's not a massive wealth of options. I think Tuchel is great. I don't think Klopp and Pep were ever realistic. I know Pep keeps saying he wants to manage an international team. Maybe that's next. Maybe it'll be Tuchel than Pep. I also think I don't think it's necessarily like a German thing, but I think if Klopp had been made manager, there'd be a lot less talk. I think if Pep had been made manager, a lot less talk as well. Robertson for one of the Forest defenders. I would just play Robertson this week. Play one of Palmer, Rodgers, or Mavididi. If you've got Palmer, you've got to play him. That you can't bench him. Like, I don't think he necessarily needs to be brought in this week with Liverpool away, but you can't bench him. Any news on Mikalenko? Not that I've seen, but I think he's fine, right? I could be wrong about that. I've not seen anything. I don't know if there's any Everton fans in the chat. So for anyone that's watched me for a while, I was happy to back Gareth Southgate. I don't want to get into a Gareth Southgate conversation. I'm never going to be someone that like shouts and shouts about getting rid of the manager, but I did say I was pretty consistent. For anyone that ever said we should sack him, I was like, it depends who you can get. If you can get someone like Tuchel or maybe Pochettino, then yeah, I'm happy with Southgate to go. That's what happened. Okay, so for my ticker, right, what I mean is, I think, like, if I had to bet money, I'd put it on Saka and Son starting, but I'd put more of my money on Son starting than Saka. So I'm a little bit less sure about the Saka start. Does that make sense? I'm not getting into Andrew. I agree. I'm not getting into Southgate conversation though. He's gone now. Thank you for the memories. It was genuinely great. I got so many good memories from watching England under Gareth Southgate. I know we didn't win, and like winning is great, but like still so many good memories watching him. But now we're on to Tuchel ball instead. Who scores more points over the next four? Brennan and Salah or Foden and Son? I think, is it worth a -4 to take out Robertson? No, don't think so. I would just play him. Worry about it next week when you got a free transfer maybe. Bench one, Smith Rowe, Robinson, or Rodgers? Robinson. Again, I'm not getting drawn into Southgate talk. I loved it. Switched off over the international break. What's been happening? Phil Foden's essential. Saka may or may not start, and he's yellow flagged as always. I think that's about it. Anything else happen over the international break? Is Son definitely preferred over Foden for the next two? I prefer Son, right? Many people will tell you that Foden's amazing. Foden is a really good option. I just prefer Son slightly. It's not massively. I just like him. I don't know if we are sleeping on Harvey Barnes. Like, he might not even start. Like, that's the problem. Like, it could just be Gordon, Isak, and Murphy on the right. Start Lewis or Porro. I think if you've got Porro at home to West Ham, you've probably got to start him. Yeah, of course, right? Of course, England fans want a trophy. It's not like winning trophies is like I know like, people always hate this comparison, right? But it took like for most seasons under Pep, Man City were like one of the best teams in the world, right? If not the best. It took them like 7 attempts to win the Champions League. Like it's not easy to win knockout tournaments. You've drawn me in, Southgate talk. I'm not saying he did everything right. And I'm not saying his tactics were amazing, etc. But the idea that just because England have got this squad of players, that means they're entitled to win or they have to win, otherwise it's utter failure. I just don't agree with. I think it's tough to win a tournament. It's also heartbreaking to be in 2 finals and lose both of them. Oh my God. Okay. Only 8 countries have won the World Cup, which we're more grateful. That's what I'm saying. I've got so many good memories, like of, the Watkins goal, the Bellingham overhead kick. Oh my God, amazing, amazing. I won't forget them. And stop drawing me into England, chat. I'm too. It's too easy to do. Rusby, thank you. I have 2 free transfers. Cons it in for Saka. Oh, sorry. Have 2 free transfers. Cons it in if Saka is bench. Worth selling Saka for Bruno or Son. Yeah, Saka to Son's pretty good. Have 3 free transfers. Option. Oh my day. You got multiple options with 3 free transfers. There's no way I'm gonna be able to focus on this. Saka to Son now and Trent and Johnson to €8 in Palmer game week 9. Or option 2, roll and Saka to Palmer game week 9. I.e. for game week 9. Okay, I like this. Would you have Trent and Johnson or €8 in Son? And if the latter, would you do Saka to Son this week? I think 9 to 11 I would prefer. I think Trent and Johnson, just about. Just about. Start 3 of Rico, Gabriel, Trent, Greaves, Matsraoui. Only 3. I don't think you can bench Trent. You got to play Trent. I don't necessarily have I don't great to get my words out. I don't necessarily have great confidence in an Arsenal clean sheet, but I still feel like you can't bench Gabriel. So then it's Rico, Greaves, Matsraoui. Oh my God. I guess I'd play Rico. I'm a little bit tempted to say Matsraoui though, honestly, just for the better fixture. Haaland, Jackson or Solanke, free hit this week. Haaland. Start Luka Dean, Aina or Greaves. Aina. Start Lewis or... Oh, yeah, I did that. Lewis or Porro. Madison over Johnson, bored of having the same player. You sure if you're bored, yeah? I would just take Johnson and the extra money, but Madison's good. Good pick. Right, should we just talk about England for the next 40 minutes? I need to decide whether I'm selling Saka or not. I kind of want to roll. Matsraoui had heart surgery. He did have some kind of surgery, yeah, which may have been for his heart. But I think saying it like that sounds like it. I'm not saying. I mean, surgery is always a little bit major, I guess. But I think saying he had heart surgery sounds more major than it was. Like, I think he's back in training already. But yeah, I guess you can maybe not risk it. What about Jota? What about him? Like, is he a good bring in to play? I've got 0 free transfers. Should I not buy Foden, not buy Son, or go really wild and not buy Bruno? I would buy Bruno for a hit personally, but Dibbling or Semenyo, I would play Dibbling this week. Start Lewis Hall or Greaves. Lewis Hall probably got a good chance of starting. Home to Brighton. I think I would start Lewis Hall. Easy Rider, thank you. Thoughts on Trossard for this week only? Nice option. I think he'll probably start. Jota is a hold this week. Wouldn't buy him. I'd probably agree with that, yeah. Let's talk about the Ireland team since you lived there. Nah. Thanks, though. I really hope Ireland qualify for the next World Cup. I was like, I tell you how excited I got watching like Tuchel interviews and stuff the other day. I suddenly got reminded that Euro 2028 is like in UK and Ireland. So I was like, not only could we then win the World Cup, we might go back to back and win the Euros as well. That's how ahead of myself I'm getting. I don't really think that, but like there was a slight dream about it. I swear I just saw something about Atomic Kitten there. I don't know if I'm going crazy. I swear. Oh yeah, do you think Atomic Kitten will do a song for Tuchel? Maybe. I hope so. That's what the country needs. Salah and Havertz to McNeil and Haaland -4. Again, I think whenever you do a -4 to Haaland for captaincy, it's not terrible. I probably wouldn't do it. Semenyo to McNeil worth it. It is if you're having to play Semenyo, I would say. Sky bet have a boost on touches to win us the 2026 and 20. Oh, Tuchel, sorry. Yeah. If only, eh? Probably shouldn't get too greedy. You know, I'll take one. How good am I at splitting the G? Don't even bother. I don't think many people that actually drink Guinness regularly try and split the G. I think it's just like a marketing thing. Would you start Greaves or Bednarek over Porro, Gabriel, or Trent? No, I don't think so. Would you do Saka to Son this week or roll? I don't know. I'll tell you in 35 minutes, I guess, because I've got that exact same dilemma. Or roll and do... Oh, okay, Watkins, Diaz, Kirkes to Cunha, Palmer, Van der Berg next week with 3 frees. I quite like that 3 moves, to be honest. Is Smith Rowe to Grealish worth it? My City alternative is Jota. I'd rather do Jota to Foden, I think. Mavididi to Johnson or roll. I would... If you're playing... Like, Mavididi's fine, I guess. And it is Southampton, so... You'd imagine he'll start again. So it should be fine to hold. Thoughts Jackson and Semenyo for Solanke and Smith Rowe. Quite like it, yeah. I think with Semenyo, though, just like, especially if you just got him on wildcard 6, like, we knew these fixtures were coming. I don't think you necessarily need to go out of your way to get rid of him, especially if he's on the bench, right? Palmer to Foden or Saka to Foden. Maybe Palmer due to tough fixtures. I would keep Palmer over Saka, I think, with the yellow flag. Again, I think Saka will play, but there's more doubts there than there is with Palmer. Max Rowe had a minor corrective procedure. Yeah, I think yeah. That's what I'm saying. I didn't know how to word it, but like it wasn't like as big as saying, "Oh, you had heart surgery." Sounds, you know. I wouldn't have any interest in Haaland triple captain. I don't think. Like I get it. Wolves away is a good fixture, but I'd much rather choose it on Southampton at home next week. Son ownership is so low; it makes it a very interesting move from Saka. I agree. I think it's just a good move anyway. Let's tempt him. I'll say what I said at the start of the stream. I think I'm quite likely to end the stream with Son in my team. Eve said I missed a super chat. Did I? Did I though? Oh yeah, I did. 2 free transfers: Bowen to Brennan and Semenyo to Garnacho. I wouldn't get Garnacho. Bowen to Brennan. It's fair enough, I guess. Saka to Son this week or Saka to Palmer next week? I'd rather have Son than Palmer for the next 4. Put it that way. Is there more chance that Saka is benched or doesn't play? I think there's more chance that he starts than gets benched. I really just don't know, though. The thing is, I don't know about anyone. Like maybe it's just me. I'm actually really not sure what I want to do with my team over the next few weeks. Like I'm not sure whether I want to sell Haaland. If I don't sell Haaland, I'm not sure if I want to sell Trent to get Saka and Palmer. And so that's making this week's decisions tricky. Like if I don't do Saka to Son, I'm going to have 3 free transfers next week, which is a nice position to be in, right? I think if Saka was like, if you told me right now Saka's going to play 80 minutes plus, this team is an easy roll. I don't know if I need those 3 free transfers massively, especially if I'm not going to a 2 premium midfielder and Haaland setup. I actually don't need them. So I could just do Saka to Son and roll in 9. I think whatever I do this week, unless Fernandes blanks again and I get really sick of him, I think I'm probably rolling in game week 9. So if I roll this week, I'm probably also rolling next week. And then I've got 4 free transfers going into 10. I've got Saka against Liverpool. I'm very tempted just to make the move, honestly. If things are going well for Arsenal, surely Saka is the first sub off. Yeah, also if they're going really well, you'd hope that he would have been involved, right? Play Semenyo or Greaves? In isolation, I think I play Semenyo. Didn't Bournemouth score? Oh no, was it away or at home? Bournemouth scored really early. They had that like 3-2 game or something like that. You're going to want those free transfers. There's a fixture swing in 12. I agree, but what players do I need from Game Week 12? Cole Palmer, right? So I could just do Saka to Son this week and then Son to Palmer in 12, and I need another transfer to make the funds, but I only really need one more, right? Unless, of course, I want Saka and Palmer, and then I need more free transfers. But I don't know. I don't know if I do want to do that. There's part of me that thinks Trent is a perfectly reasonable sell. I'm just not convinced there's a huge amount of clean sheets coming up for Liverpool. But also, Brighton at home, Villa at home, Southampton away, Everton away, Fulham at home in 16, Leicester at home in 18. They're not bad fixtures. Like over the next from 8 to 18, they've got a few games in there where they could get clean sheets, and we know we can get attacking returns as well. I'm just not sure. And I'm not really like I'm almost waiting for something to push me one way or another, like an injury or something. Captain in Burmo, Johnson or Trent? Oof. I'd be tempted to go in Burmo just because he's on penalties, but I think Johnson fixture wise and the fact I don't know if Trent's going to get a clean sheet this week. I guess so. I'll say he probably should be in Burmo, but I'll say Johnson. I'm bench boosting. Would you do Saka to Son or Saka to Foden and Lewis to Parra have 3 free transfers? Yeah, the thing is, you got to be pretty sure that all your players are going to play if you're on bench boost. So I'd be a little bit tempted to do Saka to Foden and Lewis to Parra. Then is it worth using 2 transfers just to get a bench boost out? Don't know. That I'm dreaming of. Would you do Havertz and Saka to Son and Solanke? I laugh because I feel like I read it like I'm not sure. And I thought, oh no, we've answered this like a million times. I think both of those moves are fine. I think Saka and Havertz both could play. Should I do Gibbs White to Buonanotte and Luis Diaz to Son? Don't mind that. So far, Porro is the biggest trap this year. I don't know if he's that big of a trap, is he? It's funny because I actually had him in my avoid video in pre-season. People were not happy about that. He's got 1 goal and 2 clean sheets, so 3 returns in 7. But I think if you look at the fixtures, Newcastle away, Arsenal at home, Man United away in particular, probably wouldn't, and Brighton away, I wouldn't have really expected too much anyway. So I think Leicester away, Everton home, Brentford at home with the 3 fixtures I'd expect. So he's got 3 returns, not necessarily from those games. So I think Porro's probably done all right. Has he done as well as maybe as the amount he's talked about? Possibly not, but I don't think it's fair to say he's a trap. Calvert-Lewin is a scammer. Let him go, please. Nah, I'm just going to keep him. It's Ipswich. Start Leif Davis or Aina. I think you've got to start Leif Davis. My daughter was born on Monday, so it's her first deadline stream. Very nice for her to arrive early during international break. That is good planning. Congratulations. Start McNeil or Delap? Delap, I think. At 4.5, you have Van der Ven with a lot more return. Yeah, but there's always going to be players that are cheaper that score more, right? But FPL's not that easy to always predict it. Saka and Palmer to Son and Foden. Is it insane? 3 free transfers. Not insane, but you definitely want Palmer back soon. Start one, Rico Lewis, Rogers or Semenyo. Rogers, play Calvert-Lewin or Eze. Probably Calvert-Lewin. The Ipswich fixture would swing it for me, I think. Have we had early team news for Spurs? We have not. I'd love to get some saying that Son is benched, that I can just roll. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think Son is definitely going to start. Oh, excuse me. Saka, Gabriel, Semenyo to Foden, Johnson, Porras. I prefer the three on the right. I don't know if I would sell Arsenal defenders, though. Best Alisson replacement. Raya, long term. Edison for the next few, maybe. And Nana, I don't hate. I'm not even sure, like. Hang on, I need to bring a fixture ticker up here. I think Anana maybe for like the next 6-7 is maybe okay. I mean, Kelleher obviously while Alisson is out, but I don't know if I would go there. Who else is there? Flecken? 4.5? When you say thoughts on Luis Diaz, what do you mean? Like start, bring in, sell, hairstyle? I was going for my drink there and it wasn't in the right place. Great hairstyle. Definitely better than me. Is it worth to get Son for second hand and switch back in 12? It might well be if Saka doesn't play today. Draft question. Play one. Vardy, Welbeck or Hoyland? Ooh. So Vardy is away to Southampton. Hoyland should start. I mean, if that was me, I would start Hoyland, I think. Yeah. Maybe that's the Man United thing. Someone said Saka is starting. I don't know if many people would have the team news this early. Would you still have Garnacho? No, I don't think I'll go for Garnacho now. I would just go the Brennan. I'd probably go Brennan Johnson on that wildcard draft. I'd probably go Brennan and Foden instead of Garnacho and Son or whatever it was I had. Will the Brentford scoring in under 2 minutes continue? Hopefully not. Am I rolling this week? Quite possibly. Adama for Rodgers? No, I'll just play Rodgers. Fair to say FPL challenge failed. I'm not sure. I've not seen the numbers, to be honest. I will say I've not had any, but well, actually, no, that's not true. I've had a few people over the first 8 game weeks ask me about FPL challenge, like in terms of what my team is or whatever, but not that many. Oh, I should be yawning this much already. I need to eat. Can you give my son Oscar? Son. I said it as like the Spurs guy. Son, Oscar, a shout out, please. Oscar, good morning. There's your shout out. I can't get any more excited about it than that because like, I'm yawning. I'm very tired. You can FPL challenges YouTube shorts or yeah, as shorts. Yeah, could do. What I mean is, I'm just not asked generally that much about it, which tells me like who. In fact, let me do a poll a second. FPL, have you played FPL Challenge this season? Okay, so let's just do not at all. Once or twice. Okay, I'm just going to put a few times, and then I play every. So I'm going to put, have you played FPL Challenge this season? Not at all, a few times, I play every week. That's going to be the 3 poll options. When are you next doing a going away stream? All the comments last time say you've been kidnapped. Not sure, to be honest. You would think FPL would sponsor some content creators to push challenge. I don't think FPL would spend money on that, to be honest. Not sure the budget is massive for FPL for stuff like that. Sorry. Ramsdale instead of Raya for this game week. Oh, I'd be a little bit tempted. I will say that I'm a bit biased because I've got Ramsdale in draft, but I mean, it probably should be Raya. But if I had Ramsdale on the bench, I'd be tempted to play him. Like if you're not going to play him against Leicester at home, why have you even got him? You know, Diaz to Johnson. Well, I guess you could have him just in case something goes wrong with Raya. To be fair. I would probably play Raya, but it's a bit more fun to play Ramsdale maybe. Diaz to Johnson, sure. Play Dibbling or Aina. Dibbling. Havertz, Diaz to Calvert-Lewin, Foden free. Or include Semenyo to Brennan Johnson -4. I wouldn't do a -4. The other two fine. Sell Savio to get McNeil. Don't hate it. Savio's not guaranteed to start. Got Johnson and Solanke. Saka for Son on a free. I don't mind the triple up. If you don't think Saka starts. Should I swap out Ahmad, Anana, and Watkins for Mbermo, Johnson, McNeil? If that's 3 free transfers, I love that, yeah. Yeah, quite like that. Is it silly to do Diaz and Saka to Foden or Madison? No, I think so. 69% saying not at all. We had just over 2,000 votes. 16% a few times. 15% I play every week. Damn. Robinson, Sedlke. Yeah, Fulham's Robinson. There's no other Robinson, right? It's just Fulham's one, right? I think you can keep him. Son and Garnacho or Saka and Johnson on wildcard. I would maybe even go Foden and Johnson, but Saka and Johnson, I think. I don't think you can go for Garnacho right now, unfortunately. Going for a haircut. Go cheap but risky or expensive but safe. I guess it depends what you haven't done, right? If it's simple, just get it done cheap. Diaz and Saka to Foden and Madison. Yeah, they'll just answer that one, I think. Don't hate it. I prefer Johnson and the extra money. Would you captain Salah or Saka? I think it'd have to be Salah, right? Can you check for leaks so I don't have to click off the stream? There's no leaks that I've seen so far. We don't usually get too many leaks for Spurs anyway, and you're not going to get an Arsenal team leak for a half-5 game. You might get some info that he's like been seen at the hotel or whatever, like Saka, but it's not Saka, but it's not a guarantee. Arsenal fan site non-FPL saying Saka's out, not in the matchday squad. I'm not convinced. Not in the squad according to who? Son and Diaz or Palmer and John. The problem is lots of people just. Oh, hang on a second. Are you being? Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say you've been duped by a fake account. Son and Diaz or Palmer and Johnson. Son and Diaz or Palmer. Son could be Foden. I mean, long term, definitely Palmer and Johnson. Diaz and Trent to Son and Lewis. No, I don't think so. Bench Delat, McNeil, or Rogers? Rogers, probably. It's close between him and McNeil, I think. I still think it's more likely that Saka plays than doesn't. Well, I might still sell him. Anyway, just go without Palmer till 12 and worry about it in game week 12. Let me just check what my team will look like. Like if I do Saka to Son this week, I can just roll next week and have 3 free transfers in 10, I think. Yeah, the team will look pretty good next week. Especially with Bruno Fernandes against West Ham away. My starting 11 is the same as yours this week, and I've definitely not been purposely copying you. You went for Bruno Fernandes as well. Unlucky. Jota or Rodgers? I think I'd play Jota. Sell Robertson, and if and for whom? I would just keep him this week, I think. If you're selling him, I'd be tempted to go like to Vardio if you can afford it, or Porro, probably. Liverpool defence without Alisson isn't so solid. Arsenal won't get many chances, so it's not as bad for Saka. Yeah, Liverpool are going to be a bit weaker. Not massively, though, probably. Play Mikalenko over Robertson. Probably not. Am I keeping Saka then, not going Foden? I'm definitely not going Foden. I might go Son. I'm hoping that in the next 14 minutes we get some info about Saka, but I just don't think it's going to happen. I just don't think it's going to happen. Bruno 2 assists today. That would require Man United to score 2 goals. I'm not completely sure about that. No Salah, no Haaland. Best captain. Son. Well, it depends who else you've got, right? I like Saka maybe. Son. I don't know. Who else have you got? I guess at a push, Palmer. Saka, Trent, Diaz to Palmer, Son, €8 free. Yeah, I don't really see the point in buying €8 and Palmer with free transfers this week, if I'm honest. Like Saka to Son and roll your other 2 transfers seems fine to me. Yeah, everyone keeps saying check as his retweet, but I don't see any retweet at all. I would change vice captain. Imagine if Haaland doesn't play. But who's better? Solanke, maybe? Yeah, maybe I should put it on Solanke, vice captain, instead of... I'm going to keep it on Fernandes. What the hell? Yeah, that Charles Watts account is fake. I've got the account blocked. I already have Johnson, Porro, and Solanke, so I can't get Son. That's fine, though. You don't have to have Son. He's not essential. You're not going like I said earlier, you're not going to get a leak about whether Saka's starting or not. Not this early from a game. It's very unlikely. Like the best you're going to get is whether he's at the hotel or not, which he probably is. Oh, I got just over 12 minutes. I feel like I'm going to buy Son. I should just do it now. I think Saka's going to start. And I think Son first game of the game week is going to annoy me. I can just feel it already. Like West Ham will just suddenly like become amazing or something. Sorry, you probably said 1 million times. Why are you against Foden? I'm not against Foden. I just prefer Son. Minutes, starts, penalties. Like, much more guaranteed than Foden. That's all. Foden's great. There's a lot of people that seem to want to buy Foden. Like, you should just buy him. The fixtures are lots better, but I want to be careful about now saying that the Arsenal fixtures are absolutely terrible, because before this I had no plans to sell Saka. It's not a bad time, not a bad life. Start Mikolenko, Greaves, or Delict. Ooh. I'm going to say Delict out of them. Bit of goal threat there. Start Robinson or Fass. Robinson, I think. It'll be a high-scoring game for sure. Possibly, yeah. If Saka was out today, I would, like, even if he's out for only one game, I'd definitely sell him. Like, if he's out for this week, I'd definitely sell him. No chance. Why couldn't Arsenal be the early kickoff? I know, that would have been nice. That would have been nice. I'm probably going to sell him, I think. Sorry, I'm yawning. That was really bad. The thing is, as well, that's playing on my mind a little bit. Son is a little bit cheaper, which is not going to make a massive difference, right? But if I do Son in, then next week, if I want to do Fernandes to Palmer, which I'll still be able to do for free, I think I'd have a little bit more to spend on my defender for Trent. Yeah, 4.6. So it gives me a little bit of breathing space on getting him in. But eventually I'm going to want to do Son back to Saka. So I'm still going to have to free up some money from somewhere else. I still don't think I want to sell Trent, though. Okay, but who... Let's say Saka starts. Do you think Saka's better than Son this week? I'm not sure he is, right? So not only do I think Son might be better than Saka this week, he's also not... Well, I guess he is a bit of a doubt, but not as much. And the fixtures are better afterwards. That's what's tempting me to do it. I think I just put Son in and he just stays for 4 weeks unless he gets injured. Saka yellow flag is a lie. We saw that last season. He'll start 100%. What about the game where he didn't start, though? There was a game last year where we thought, oh, he'll start, and then he didn't. Salah or Haaland captain Salah. Start Konza or Fass. Fulham away, Fass probably. Would you do Salah, Saka, Watkins for Son, Foden, Haaland? If that was for free, I'd be pretty tempted, yeah. Because you know how much I love Foden. So we've had nearly 7,000 votes now on the FPL challenge thing. 70% not played it. Saka more consistent over the season than Son. Sure, but how consistent is he going to be with the fixtures turn, you know? Son coming back from injury, so he might come off early. I agree. Yeah, there is definitely a little bit of a worry about Son. It's not a guarantee. I'm still tempted to do it. Saka to Foden or Palmer, not going Son. I'd probably go Foden. Would you also sell Salah if you only had one free transfer? I guess I'd be a little bit less sure about it. I think having 2 free transfers does help. Yeah. It does help a little bit. And by the way, just to like not have this thing that people think I try and build up suspense, I'm probably going to buy Son. I think right now I'm like 80% likely to buy Son. I'm just going to wait till the last minute because I might as well see if we get any information. Although at this point, even if someone said Saka's starting, I'd still be quite tempted to make the move, which makes me think I should just do it. Don't sell Saka. Don't sell Saka. Maybe I don't know. I'm just looking at the fixtures again now. I probably do want Saka back in 12. Fixtures are really good, aren't they? Honestly, you don't need to sell Saka to me. I love Saka. He's amazing. He is amazing. Oh, I don't know. If he plays, I can just keep him and have 3 free transfers. How gutted would you be if Ange starts Son on the bench? Well, if I bring him in, I'd be quite gutted, yeah. What if after all this, Saka scores a brace too and Son blanks? Well, that'd be annoying, obviously. Since when do you start chasing points? I mean, Son's literally not played the last 2 game weeks. I don't know how selling a player that's just got a 16-pointer for a player that's missed 2 games in a row is chasing points, to be honest. I don't think Son will play 90, no. There is every chance that Saka just plays more minutes than Son this week. That could happen. Salah or Haaland captain? Definitely Salah for me. Definitely Haaland for me, sorry. Definitely Haaland. Yeah, you can have up to 5 free transfers banked now. That was a change that was made at the start of the season. Bruno to Son and Trent to an affordable defender. Don't hate it. West Ham haven't conceded more than 1 goal in any away game, right? I'm not sure. I haven't checked, but I still would see that as West Ham at home on paper is a good fixture. Why will you start Aina over Lewis? Just home game, good defence, guaranteed to start. Would you, if you want to start Lewis, start him. Like, he's a good option. Would you sell Robertson? I'd probably lean towards playing him, but otherwise I'd probably go to like Porro. I wouldn't go to Lewis. Maybe Mikalenko if you want to free up funds. Think about the expected regret, but you can frame that both ways, right? What if Saka doesn't play and Son scores a hat-trick? Will you regret it? Well, no, I'd love that. I'd love that. Move Trent to 8 Nuri or Havertz to Raul Jimenez for funds. Probably Havertz to Raul Jimenez, I think. I bet you he's looking at what the other content creators are doing on their streams. That's exactly what I'm doing. You've caught me out. I've got 10 screens here, and I've got 10 deadline streams. I'm just waiting to see what they do. And until that happens, I just won't make my moves. Sell Diaz for Johnson or Saka for Foden. I'd do the Diaz move, I think. Oh, for my team, Bruno to Son and Trent to an affordable. The thing is, I think I'm 0.1 million off getting Porro, and so once I can't get Porro, it just doesn't interest me as much. So if I do Son in here, yeah, 5.4 million. If I could do Trent to Porro and Fernandes to Son, I'd be a little bit tempted to do that. Son leaks, no. Son leaks, no. Son to Saka, Saka to Son, maybe, yeah. We haven't got leaks for Spurs. You probably won't get them either. You just ran 15k. Damn, fair play. Saka to Foden locked in on a punt, still not use wildcard. Eze to Brennan 2 of free transfer. I'd probably keep Eze, but I don't mind that. Oh sugar, it's only 3 minutes to go. Saka's going to start. He's going to start. I do love Saka. But what if he doesn't start? What if he doesn't start? We're not going to get any news in the next 2 minutes. I can't. I just saw Az tweet about Foden. I'm like, could I get Foden? No, I'm not getting Foden. I don't like the fact that I don't know what I'm doing with 3 free transfers next week. I could just roll though. By the way, I agree with people that are saying Saka will probably start. I agree. I think it's way more likely that he starts than doesn't. But there is some doubt there, and Son's just waiting. Something will come up, yeah. Maybe I'll want to do Saka to Son after Saka's injured for like another week. Fidel, thank you. Oh, I agree. If you're going to get Foden, you pretty much got to get him now. I don't get what people... Like, if people are that adamant that Foden's great, what's the point in waiting? If you have Solanke and Johnson already, would it make sense to hold Saka and go for Palmer next game week along with Porro? That sounds pretty good to me, yeah. Start Smith Rowe, Rogers, Smith Rowe, I think. You deserve so much credit than what you're getting. Brilliant content and very knowledgeable. Questionable. Questionable. Play Gabriel or Aina. I played Gabriel. Thank you, by the way. I think knowledgeable is definitely questionable. Like it's 1 minute 20. I'm gonna keep him, I think. Oh, it's just gonna be. I hate FPL. It's gonna be such a It's gonna be such a bad start to the week if Son goes and gets a brace or a hat trick. Like knowing that you're like this close to bringing him in. Should probably vice captain Solanke as well. It's Liverpool. I'm going to do it. I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it. If I've still got time. I'm going to regret this, I think. Where is he? Okay. Done. Saka's going to start. Saka's going to start. We still got time. We still got 30 seconds. He's going to start. He will start. And someone's going to blank in the first freaking game. I don't know. I'm not happy with that move at all. That's a good point. Son's just back from a hamstring issue. He could get benched himself or just I don't know. I don't know. I'm not happy about that move now I've made it. Sometimes you make a move and you're happy with it. Oh well. Still got 2 free transfers next week at least. After all this, it'll be Foden that smashes them all. Hopefully Son's my vice captain. Yeah, Foden will smash it now. Foden will absolutely smash it. I can sense it already. I don't know. I don't know. I do know what I need. I do know that I need to. I'm just going to do the draw for sleeper quickly. This has to be planned for content. I literally said about 7-8 minutes ago. I'm pretty sure I'm going to bring Son in, like 80%. I was just waiting for last minute news. Oh, so I love Saka so much. I love Saka so much. Should have done the move previously without confirming the transfer, just to visualize the squad. Yeah. God, imagine if Son's benched. I think Saka will start. I just need Son to start as well. I don't think you can class it as a stupid move. I should have probably kept him, shouldn't I? The Liverpool game next week kind of got to me a little bit as well. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, I think it's a fine move. Okay, so this. Hang on. So for I need to go into studio mode. So I just need to do a quick bit of setup. So for anyone that's been playing Sleeper, there's a draw now for Game Week 7. Loads of you got the same amount of predictions. I think it was 8 predictions correct. Loads of you got the same. Saka. No, I don't think Saka will be benched though. Sonaldo did Saka. Yeah, but Sonaldo's always looking for any reason to get Son. I don't. Everyone always says it's a complete knee-jerk move. I don't know how it can be when I've thought about it like the last couple of days. I don't think it's knee-jerk. The fact that I did it last minute, maybe, but whatever. So if I go on this, oh yeah, okay. Put the wheel up. Okay. It was going to do Saka to Foden for -4. Wasn't convinced. Yeah, I wouldn't have done it for a -4. I only did it because it was free. I really should set this up in time. So if you haven't already checked out Sleeper, there are prizes on offer pretty much every single week. So I'm going to do the same as what I did for the last 4 game weeks. So in game weeks 8, 9, 10, and 11, whoever gets the most predictions will win a Premier League shirt of their choice. And then whoever gets the most predictions for those game weeks combined, so 8, 9, 10, 11 combined, will get Apple AirPods. So this is for the game week 4 to 7 winner or whatever. So all these people here got 8 predictions correct in game week 7. So this is for a Premier League shirt of their choice. Let's just quickly get this done. So it's going to be the Punzus. There we go. I'm going to write that down really quickly. So this is Premier League shirt of your choice. And I accidentally ordered a spare one of one. So there's one shirt in one size that I'm hoping you will pick. But we'll see. We'll see. And then, hang on a second. Where is... So let me just close that. And this is for the AirPods. So only 3, I think it was 27 predictions correct for game weeks 4 to 7. So 3 people are up for AirPods. So let's go for this. Let's see who it's going to be. It is Ashuvo. Probably pronounced that wrong. I apologize if I have. Let me just copy that down. AirPods. So I'm going to message you in the Sleeper app. I'm going to message you in the Sleeper app in a minute. So make sure you'll keep an eye out for that. I'll get your address and stuff, and I'll get that sent as soon as possible. For anyone that hasn't... hang on. Yeah, for anyone that hasn't already played, there's a link in the description below to join the Let's Talk FPL League. All you have to do is predict who's going to win or lose every single game. Every game week. That is it. It's super easy. And the tiebreaker is basically me doing a random draw on the deadline stream. So I'm going to quickly put mine in now. I'm going to go for Spurs. I will never get the most predictions because I'm always too conflicted with FPL. So like Ipswich versus Everton, I think there's a good chance Ipswich might get a win. But I'm going to go for Everton because I've got Calvert-Lewin. Paul O'Keefe said he expects Son to be straight back in. Happy days. Fulham Villa, I'm going to go for a draw. I'm going to go for Man United to beat Brentford. Newcastle to beat Brighton. Southampton to beat Leicester. Arsenal draw because of no Saka. No, I'm going to go for Saka. And then for the next 3 games, I'm going to go for City win, Liverpool to beat Chelsea, and Forest to beat Palace. So that's all you have to do. That's it. It's completely free. There's not going to be prizes necessarily on offer every single week, but for the next 4 weeks, 8, 9, 10, 11, whoever gets the most predictions each game week will get a Premier League shirt of their choice. If it's a tie, I'll do a tiebreaker like I just did there. And then for 8 to 11, whoever gets the most predictions for all 4 weeks combined, I will do AirPods. So, like I said, completely free. It's called Sleeper, not Sweeper. Sleeper, and there's a link in the description or in the chat. So make sure you check that out if you haven't already. And congratulations to those that have won prizes so far. I think I've sent out 3 shirts so far. A couple of people haven't replied to DMs, so make sure you check them in the Sleeper app. Had any Man United shirts been chosen? Yes. Do you think Saka to De Bruyne next week is a real option? Probably not. Like, even if he's definitely back, he's not guaranteed to start, right? Wildcarding in 12 already have Palmer. I'd just go for Foden next week. You can see by the look on his face last few minutes, and he regrets his decision. Yeah, a little bit maybe, but we'll see. Was going to do Saka to Foden for -. Oh, I did that one already. Right, I'm going to leave it there because I've got stuff to go and do. But thank you very much for watching. If you have enjoyed that stream, make sure to give it a like and hit that subscribe button as well. Much appreciated. Enjoy your weekend. Good luck to Son. Hopefully he gets 4 goals plus would be nice. That's all I want. It's just 4 goals. But yeah, enjoy the weekend. Good luck on the green arrows. Hopefully Bruno Fernandes absolutely smashes it for me. He probably won't. And I'll catch you tomorrow for the knee-jerk stream. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you again tomorrow.